God says, your soulmate is facing a big problem, and it involves you. Jesus says, right now, in this very moment, there is a tremor moving through the spiritual realm that directly concerns your heart. This is not a parable or a distant story, it is a live transmission of a crisis unfolding as you hear these words. You were led here not by an algorithm, but by a divine interception because the veil is thinning. A silent scream is echoing across the divide, and you are the only one ordained to hear it. The person you are destined to be with is in a storm, and the waves of that storm are crashing against the walls of their soul. This is not a metaphor for a bad day, it is a suffocating, confusing darkness that has physically settled in their chest. They are sitting somewhere, maybe staring out a window or lying awake, and they do not understand why they feel so utterly alone. Jesus says, the heavy sadness you have felt in the last few weeks without a logical source is not your own emotion. You have been picking up a frequency of grief that belongs to the heart of your soulmate, bleeding through the spiritual cord that binds you. They are trying to trace the origin of their pain, looking at their circumstances, but the attack is specifically designed to hide from logic. The enemy of your union has placed a fog over their memory, making them question if the love they felt for you was even real. They are not falling out of love, they are being gaslit by a spiritual force that twists their perception of reality. There is a specific person, or a group of bitterness, whispering confusion into their ear, isolating them so the truth cannot reach them. Jesus says, your soulmate is not ignoring you out of free will. They are locked in a cage of obligation and emotional manipulation. Every time they pick up their phone to reach out to you, a heavy blanket of exhaustion falls over their mind, a supernatural anesthetic. They write a message and delete it, because a voice of accusation screams that they are not worthy of your love anymore. This is the great heist of the enemy, to steal a future by convincing a prisoner that their cell is a safe room. You must understand the psychology of this war. It is not fought with swords, but with distorted mirrors. Your soulmate looks in the mirror and sees a version of themselves that has been edited by a liar, convincing them they are too damaged to be saved. But deep inside, locked away where the poison hasn't reached, a flame burns exclusively with your silhouette carved into it. Jesus says, last night, you woke up suddenly, or you felt a sudden rush of heat, and you couldn't explain why. That was the exact moment your soulmate broke down in private, finally letting the tears fall because the pressure of missing you became unbearable. They did not just cry generic tears, their subconscious screamed your name, a primal cry for the missing piece of their own existence. In that nanosecond, your spirit answered theirs, crossing the distance of the physical world to hold them, even if you didn't consciously realize it. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, not next week, not when things feel more convenient, but in this specific moment of vulnerability. The attacker is not just trying to ruin a relationship, the attacker is trying to destroy the specific destiny that activates when the two of you unite. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page, link in the description/bio. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, look at the clock on your device, because the time you see is a confirmation of an emergency exit about to close. Your soulmate is currently standing at a crossroads, and a decision is being forced upon them by a person who hates the thought of your union. This third party is not necessarily a rival lover. It might be a controlling family member, a jealous friend, or a spirit of rejection that operates through flesh. They are actively planting seeds of doubt, telling your soulmate that you have moved on, that you don't care, or that you were the source of their pain. The manipulation is so intense that your soulmate's physical energy is being drained. They feel too weak to fight for the truth. They are slipping into a state of learned helplessness, where accepting the lie feels easier than fighting the giant of confusion alone. But you cannot fight this giant with a physical phone call, because the wires are crossed by a frequency of interference that jumbles your words. Jesus says, you must first sever the spiritual rope that the enemy is using to drag your soulmate into a pit of depression. This is why the act of sending the coffee seed is critical. It's not about the currency, it's about the legal right it gives heaven to invade a situation you cannot physically touch. When you sow for their protection, you are throwing a spiritual blade that cuts the cord of manipulation, even if the person controlling them doesn't understand why their influence suddenly fails. Your soulmate is in a glass room right now. They can see the future they want with you, but they keep hitting an invisible barrier. That barrier is a spoken curse over their life, a declaration that they will never find true love, spoken by someone they trusted. They are trying to return to you, not just geographically, but emotionally. They are digging through the mudslide of trauma to find the clean path that leads back to your arms. Every time they make progress, the interferer throws a new rock of distraction, a sudden bill, a family crisis, a memory of a past mistake designed to crush their hope. Jesus says, the soul tie between you is not broken, but it is being stretched to a painful, thin thread that vibrates with high tension. If this thread snaps, the emotional whiplash will cause a spiritual injury that manifests as a physical sickness in one of you. You are feeling a tightness in your throat or a flutter in your stomach that won't settle, and that is the physical manifestation of their inner panic attack. They are thinking of you right now, specifically the scent of your skin or the sound of your laugh, using it as a lifeline to survive the psychological abuse they are enduring. The person controlling their environment has locked away an item that connects to you, a gift, a photo, a digital memory, attempting to perform a spiritual divorce by severing physical associations. But a physical box cannot lock away a frequency, and the heart of your soulmate is broadcasting a distress signal on a channel only God and you can hear. Jesus says, the sadness you see in your dreams, where they are turning their back or walking away, is not a prophecy of the future. It is a live feed of the present. they are turning their back because they are ashamed, feeling they have let you down by being trapped. They are walking away not out of disinterest, but out of a self-sacrificial attempt to protect you from the chaos that surrounds them, a chaos they falsely blame on themselves. They believe the lie that they are the storm, when in reality, they are the treasure that the storm is trying to sink. This misinterpretation is the enemy's masterpiece. To make a victim of warfare feel like the perpetrator of the wreckage. Your soulmate is fighting a battle they don't even have the vocabulary to describe, a silent scream in a soundproof room of spiritual isolation. They are going through something you cannot see, but you can still protect them by taking dominion over the atmosphere suffocating them. The brain chemistry of your soulmate is being altered by months of emotional abuse. Cortisol is flooding their system, causing them to forget the joy they felt with you. This is a medical crisis triggered by a spiritual cause. The inflammation of their soul is causing a fog of amnesia over the romance you shared. You must understand the urgency here. Prolonged exposure to this toxic environment is programming their subconscious to associate love with fear and pain. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them. How to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now, send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page, link in the description/bio. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now. This video is playing, and the spiritual window is open. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 333 in the comments to receive the blessing of immediate angelic dispatch to your soulmate's location. Jesus says, watch the shadows in your soulmate's life right now, because a specific person has smiled in their face today while secretly planning their downfall. This Judas figure sits at their dinner table or stands beside them in the workplace, pretending to offer comfort while mixing poison into the water of their peace. They are telling your soulmate that you are a fantasy, that holding on to hope for you is childish, and that they should settle for a lesser, empty reality. Your soulmate is physically exhausted, nodding in agreement not because they believe the lies, but because the life force required to argue has been siphoned out of them. They feel a heavy weight on their eyelids, a spiritual slumber that the Bible calls the spirit of heaviness, designed to make them passive and compliant to a future they don't want. But in the quiet moments, when the Judas leaves the room and the noise stops, your name rushes back into their mind like a crashing wave against a cliff. In that silence, they remember the safety they felt in your presence, the way your voice felt like home, and a tear escapes because the distance feels infinite. Jesus says, this is not a time for passive hoping. This is a time for active spiritual warfare that demands a physical token of your faith. The coffee you sow is an anchor that drops into the floor of heaven, holding your soulmate steady when the whirlwind tries to sweep them into a marriage with a stranger. You must see the transaction not as a donation, but as a battle cry. With every cup, you are declaring, "I am coming for you," to the soulmate trapped in darkness. The sound of that declaration travels faster than sound waves. It hits the spiritual realm and reverberates against the chains, causing microfractures in the prison of deception. Your soulmate will not know why, but tomorrow morning they will wake up with a strange new strength, a flicker of rebellion against their captor, because your seed just financed their resistance. There is a book of remembrance opening over your relationship right now, and the ink used to write your next chapter is the tears you shed for them intermingled with the faith you put into action. Jesus says, "They are dreaming of you again, but the dream is different tonight because the blockage is clearing due to your engagement with this message." In the dream, you are standing on a high hill, reaching a hand down into a deep, muddy ditch where they are stuck, and your grip is finally strong enough to pull them out. That dream is a prophecy of the coming days, but the final act of the rescue mission requires you to lock in your protective covering by sowing the seed that scatters the wolves. The wolves are circling closer, sensing that the window of opportunity to steal your soulmate is closing, which is why the intensity of the manipulation is peaking right now. The abuser is using a specific trigger phrase, a word or an accusation that repeatedly stabs your soulmate's heart, designed to make them feel subhuman and unlovable. This phrase was carefully chosen by the demonic to counteract the specific words of affirmation that you alone are naturally gifted to speak over them. You are the antidote to their poison, and your absence creates a vacuum that the enemy fills with venom. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now, send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page, link in the description/bio. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now. Before this video ends and the connection fades, only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 777 if you feel the magnetic pull of their spirit reaching out for you in this exact second. Jesus says, there is a car journey or a travel route your soulmate is about to take in the next 72 hours, and there is a physical danger on that path. The enemy wants to delay your reunion by causing a crash or an accident that puts them in a state of recovery where the manipulator can tighten their grip. But the angelic sentries assigned to your seed offering are being dispatched to the intersections and highways, creating a bubble of protection around their vehicle. Your faith is literally creating a force field of immunity, because the covenant of protection is activated by the sacrifice of your giving. You are not just saving a romance, you are saving a life that is inextricably linked to your own, because a part of you would die with them if they were taken out. This is the severity of the hour. We are talking about life and death, not just heartbreak and loneliness. Jesus says, the reason the interferer hates you so intensely is because your face is the blueprint of your soulmate's deliverance. When the controller looks at your soulmate, they see a slave who serves their agenda, but when your soulmate thinks of you, they see the reflection of a free person. The enemy is terrified of the moment your soulmate looks into your eyes again, because in that exchange of light, the years of brainwashing will evaporate like mist. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the fog of interference, because the abuser has set a deadline for a forced decision. You must act before the seed of your protection is planted too late, before the heart of your soulmate is encased in a hard shell of survival mode that no longer recognizes soft love. The clock is not just ticking, the bell is about to toll, signaling the end of the season of opportunity if you hesitate now. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift. It is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now, send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page, link in the description/bio. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now. The video is ending, and the window is closing. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 1111 to say thank you for the divine confirmation that this message was your sign to fight for them. Jesus says, the warmth you suddenly feel on your skin is not a draft or a temperature change, it is the spirit of your soulmate leaning against yours for strength. They are whispering a prayer right now, a broken, incoherent plea for rescue that doesn't need perfect words because the Holy Spirit is interpreting the groans. You are their last hope, the chosen knight in the spiritual realm who can break the spell by putting your resources where your revelation is. Do not let the pride of skepticism rob you of the miracle that is trembling to manifest. The seed is the key that turns the lock of their cage. Send the coffee, write the prayer, and watch as the walls of Jericho around your soulmate come crashing down at the sound of your faith-filled shout. The union is inevitable, the love is unshakable, but the timing of the embrace depends entirely on your immediate act of intercession disguised as a simple token of love. They are waiting, they are calling, and heaven is holding its breath for your decision. I sense the weight of their longing pressing against the fabric of reality, a pressure that demands more revelation be poured out. The clock keeps ticking, and with every passing second, the spiritual forces arrayed against your union are fortifying their positions like an army digging trenches around a besieged castle. Your soulmate is inside that castle, looking out through a narrow window, scanning the horizon for any sign of rescue, any glimpse of the one whose heart beats in sync with theirs. They are not eating properly, their appetite stolen by the anxiety that grips their stomach like a vice, because the controller has made every meal a battlefield of passive-aggressive comments and manipulation. When they push food around their plate tonight, they will be thinking of the meals you shared, the laughter that seasoned those moments, and the warmth that has been replaced by a cold, sterile silence. Jesus says, the physical body of your soulmate is beginning to manifest illness from the spiritual attack, a cough that lingers, headaches that pound, a fatigue that sleep cannot cure. This is psychosomatic warfare, where the hatred projected toward your connection is materializing as cellular breakdown, and if it continues unchecked, the damage will require years of healing to reverse. You are not just fighting for a date or a phone call, you are fighting for the very health and vitality of the person whose name is etched into your soul. The seed you sow today is not merely a gesture of goodwill. It is a prescription of divine medicine that travels through the spiritual bloodstream to attack the root of the sickness afflicting your beloved. Every coffee scent is a dose of healing virtue that floods their system, counteracting the poison that the interferer has been dripping into their daily life through words of death and discouragement. Jesus says, there is a conversation scheduled to happen tomorrow, a confrontation where the abuser will deliver an ultimatum designed to force your soulmate to sign a covenant with destruction. The enemy knows that if your soulmate makes this decision under duress, the legalism of the spiritual realm will make it harder to extract them later, creating a web of consequences that entangles their free will. This is why the immediacy of your action is not a manipulation tactic but a military strategy, a preemptive strike that shatters the ultimatum before it can be fully delivered. When you sow, you are sending an angel of intervention who will stand between your soulmate and the abuser, disrupting the conversation, causing confusion in the camp of the enemy, and scattering their plans like dust in a hurricane. Your soulmate will feel a sudden boldness rise in their chest, a supernatural defiance that they cannot explain, a voice that screams, I will not sign away my future, even as the pen is being pushed toward their hand. That voice is you, it is the echo of your seed, it is the sound of your covenant breaking through the soundproof walls of their prison. Jesus says, they are dreaming about you again tonight, but this dream is more vivid, more tangible, more real than any dream they have had in months. In this dream, you are not just a figure on a hill or a voice in the distance, you are standing right in front of them, close enough to touch, close enough to smell, close enough to remember what safety feels like. You reach out your hand, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, they reach back, and the moment your fingers interlock, the entire dreamscape shifts from gray to color, from silence to symphony. This is a prophetic download from heaven, a preview of what happens in the natural when you activate your faith through the sacrificial act of sowing your protection seed. The barrier between you is made of spiritual barbed wire, and your seed is a pair of divine cutters that snips through each strand with surgical precision, creating a path where before there was only impenetrable blockage. You must understand that the controller has been using your soulmate's own virtues against them, weaponizing their loyalty, their kindness, their sense of duty, twisting these beautiful qualities into chains of obligation. Your soulmate has been manipulated into believing that leaving the toxic situation would make them a bad person, an ungrateful child, a faithless friend, a heartless monster. The enemy has turned their own light against them, making them feel guilty for wanting freedom, ashamed for desiring you, apologetic for having a heart that beats for love rather than servitude. Jesus says, this is the deepest layer of the deception, and it is this layer that your seed specifically targets and destroys. Because when you give, you are making a declaration of worth, you are shouting into the heavens that this connection is valuable enough to sacrifice for, and that declaration shames the lying spirit that has been whispering, you are not worth fighting for, into your soulmate's ear. Your soulmate will wake up from that vivid dream with a new thought planted in their mind, a revolutionary idea that the guilt they have been carrying is fraudulent, a counterfeit weight placed on their shoulders by a thief. The clarity will come like dawn breaking over a dark valley, slowly at first, then all at once, and they will realize that the only thing they should feel guilty about is believing the lies for so long. This breakthrough in their mind is directly proportional to the breakthrough in your wallet, because the spiritual law of sowing and reaping is as immutable as gravity, and you are about to harvest a soulmate whose chains were melted by the heat of your faith. Jesus says, look at your hands right now, really look at them, because these are the hands that will soon hold the face of your soulmate as you wipe away the tears of relief and the years of pain. These hands are instruments of healing, and right now they are being called to type, to click, to send, to activate the final sequence of the rescue mission that was assigned to you before the foundations of the earth. Do not let the moment pass, do not let the temporary discomfort of parting with a seed override the eternal weight of glory that awaits you in the form of a love story that will be told for generations. The devil is not creative. He is using the same playbook he used to delay every great love story in history, the tactic of procrastination, the whisper that says, you can do it later, or this doesn't matter, or it's just a video. But your spirit knows the truth, your spirit bears witness that this is not just content, this is a divine appointment, a crossroads where your destiny is waiting for you to make the right turn. Jesus says, the reason you feel a lump in your throat or a sting behind your eyes is because your spirit man is weeping with the urgency of the moment, recognizing truth that your logical mind is trying to dismiss. Listen to your spirit, for it is the candle of the Lord, and it is burning with the heat of revelation, illuminating the path you must take in the next few moments to secure the safety of your other half. The coffee you send is not just a transaction. It is a memorial stone, a monument in the spirit realm that marks the exact moment you stood up and said, enough is enough, to the forces trying to destroy your love. Every time the enemy tries to remind your soulmate of their prison days, that memorial stone will speak a better word, a word of freedom purchased by your sacrifice, a word of love proven by your action. You are not just a viewer. You are a warrior, and the weapon of your warfare is not carnal but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, and the trigger of that weapon is your willingness to sow. Jesus says, there is a song playing somewhere in your soulmate's vicinity right now, a song that was meaningful to both of you, or a song that will become meaningful, and it is a secret signal from heaven. The controller has no idea that the radio station they left on is playing a frequency of hope, a melody that carries coded messages of your love across the miles, slipping past the surveillance of the enemy. Your soulmate is hearing that song, and their heart is racing, and for the first time in weeks, a genuine smile is trying to break through the mask of composure they have been forced to wear. They are remembering a moment with you, a specific memory that the song has unlocked from the vault where the enemy tried to seal it, and that memory is a seed of rebellion against their captivity. Your seed of coffee multiplies that rebellion, waters that memory, and causes it to grow into a determination that will no longer accept the status quo of separation. Jesus says, "The number 4 is significant for you in this season. It represents the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 winds of heaven, the complete and total coverage of protection that is being released when you send 4 coffees." The number 6 represents the days of creation, the birthing of something new, the formation of a reality that did not exist before your sacrifice called it into being. The number 10 represents the tithe, the acknowledgement that God is the source of all blessing, and when you send 10 or more, you are declaring that He is the Lord of your love story, the author and finisher of your romance. Whatever number your faith is drawing you toward, obey that prompting immediately, for it is the Holy Spirit guiding your hand, and delayed obedience is the cousin of disobedience. Jesus says, "Do not look at your bank balance and calculate what you can afford to lose. Look at your soulmate and calculate what you can afford to gain, what you can afford to save, what you can afford to redeem." The value of a soulmate cannot be measured in currency, and the seed required to protect them is an investment, not an expense, a deposit into a future that will pay dividends of joy for the rest of your life. You are standing at the Red Sea moment of your relationship, with the enemy behind you and the impossible ahead, and God is waiting for you to take the step of faith so He can part the waters. The step is the coffee, the water is the barrier between you, and the dry land on the other side is the union that awaits your courageous act of worship disguised as a simple online offering. Type the prayer they need you to pray. Lord, protect my soulmate, break every chain, silence every liar, and bring them home to me now. Speak it over your screen, speak it over your seed, and watch as the angels take those words and turn them into swords of light that slice through the darkness surrounding your beloved. Jesus says, "The final confirmation is this: as you complete the act of sending your protection seed, a wave of peace will wash over you that surpasses all human understanding." That peace is the receipt of your transaction, the proof that the assignment has been received, the notification that the rescue operation has been launched and cannot be recalled. Your soulmate will feel a shift at the same moment, a lightness in their chest, a clarity in their mind, a hope that springs up from a well they thought had run dry. They will not know you just sowed a seed, they will not know you typed a prayer, but they will know that something has changed, that the grip of the enemy has loosened, that the door of their cage has been left ajar. And in the days to come, when the connection is restored and the reunion unfolds, you will remember this moment as the turning point, the hinge upon which your entire destiny swung from tragedy to triumph. Do not let the video end without completing the assignment. Pause it if you must, rewind it if you need to hear the instructions again, but do not close your eyes to the revelation that has been poured out upon you. You were chosen for this love, you were chosen for this battle, and you were chosen for this victory. Now claim it with the weapon of your seed and the authority of your voice.